All right, we're going to go over some problems from your 12.2 on your own page. So number 3 says Doug is making square tiles as shown. What is the area of the smaller figure here? Okay, so we need to first, sorry. Okay, we need to first find the area of this larger one here. So, and then we're going to find these little triangles here and take those away. So this is the square is 2 plus 4. And then this side, right, it's a square is 2 plus 4. So the entire square, the large one, so large is 6 by 6, which is 36. Now we need to find this that's not a rectangle, this triangle here. So the triangle has a base of 4 and a height of 2. So we're going to find this triangle. Base times height, cut it in half. So once we know that, that's one triangle. But I have 1, 2, 3, 4 of these triangles. So once I know this answer, I need to times that by 4 because I have 4 of the triangles. And then we want to take that away from the total. Take it out to just be left with the little square inside. So find the big one, find the pieces we want to get rid of, and take that away. Let's go ahead and finish that work up. Okay, our next one, number 4, says that a triangle has the base of 8.5. So I'm just going to draw myself a triangle here so I can picture it. So 8.5. And the height straight up from the base is 4.5. What is the area? So we have 8.5. So I could change this to decimals if I want. I can do 8.5 and times that by 4.5 and divide it by 2. But since it gave it as a fraction, unless it's a whole number, we need to give it back as a fraction there. So I'm going to just solve it with my fractions. So I want to make improper fractions. So there's 8 times 2 is 16 plus 1 is 17 over 2 times there's 8 plus 1 is 9 over 2. Now neither of these can be divided by 2, so it's as simple as it can get. So we need to do 17 times 9 is our 63. I'm gonna write red on red. Okay, 9 plus 6 is 15. So that's 153 over 2 times 2 is 4. Now, while we're already in a fraction, right, I have to divide that by 2. So if I take 153 over 4, I need to divide that by 2. Oh, we can simplify this. 2 goes into 2 one time. 2 divided by 2 is, or 4 divided by 2 is 2. So to finish the problem, I really just have 153 divided by 2. But now remember, we don't just want to add a decimal. It gave our problem as a fraction, so we want to give it back as a fraction. So when we know that remainder, when we have nothing else to bring down, and we know that remainder, that's going to be out of 2. And I know it's going to have a remainder because 2 can't go in here. Perfect. So see if you can finish that problem to get that answer. It's like you can also do it as fractions and then convert it into a decimal when you're done. Okay, number 5 tells us that Walt is designing a school pennant in the shape of a triangle. The pennant must have a height of 11 inches and a total area of 66. We want to know what is the base. What is this length of the base going to be if we know it's that high? So our formula tells us that area equals base times height cut in half. So let's plug in what we know. Area is 66. So 66. The base, oh, that's what we're looking for. We don't know the base. But we do know this height. The height is 11. So we have 11 B's, and then we're dividing by 2. So we need to undo this. So we're working backwards. So normally we would times and then divide. So we're just going to do it backwards. So the opposite of divide is to times by 2 on both sides, times by 2 over here. So 66 times 2 is 132. So now we have 132 equals 11 B's. We're timesing those together. I have 11 of those. So I need to divide by 11 on this side and divide by 11 on this side to get the answer to the base. And now this answer is just going to be in inches, not squared, because 66 is squared. We just have a single dimension we're looking for. So our answers to 3 and 4, this should be inches squared. This one should also be inches squared because we're seeing how many squares fit inside a shape. Okay, number 6 says that a rectangle has a length of 8 feet and a width of 3. So we're going to draw out a rectangle with 8 by 3. And a right triangle has a height of 3 feet. What length would its base be if it has the same area as the rectangle? Okay, so we also have a triangle that has a height of 3. We need to know what is the base, if their areas are the same. So this base here is 8, base times height. 8 times 3 is 24 feet squared. So we need to get this triangle to have the same area. So if the area is 24, we don't know the base, but we do know the height is 3. And we know we're going to have to cut it in half. So we need to work backwards and do the opposite. So we need to turn this into a rectangle. So the opposite of divide by 2 is to times by 2 and times by 2. So we're just working backwards to find this by itself. So if I want to work backwards to see what one of the parts is, I do everything in the problem backwards. So here is 48 equals 3 B's. So now I need to divide by 3 and divide by 3 to see what this base will be. And then I would check it out. This number times 3 cut in half, is that 24? Then you got it right. Okay, next up we have number 7. It says a triangular roof is built so that its height is half the base. So we have this triangle and the height is half of the base. I didn't do a great job drawing that, but the base is 32. So we need half of 32 for the height. So half of 32 will be the height, equals the height. So then I just plug it in, 32 times the height, but then it's a triangle, so I cut it in half. So 32 times the height cut in half, and it's in feet, so feet squared for our area. So base times height cut in half for a triangle. Okay, number 8 says a triangle has a height of 7 inches. I'm going to draw up my picture here. So height of 7 and a total area of 35. So something times 7 cut in half is 35. So it's very tempting to just be like, oh, 5 times 7 is 35. But, right, we have to find the whole rectangle first. So we need to double this and then see what it is. So we know that we know the area is 35. We don't know the base again, but we do know the height. We have 7 B's and we'll cut that in half. So the opposite of dividing by 2 is going to be times by 2. So get rid of that. So that's 70. So we have 70 equals 7 B's times. So the opposite is divide. So 70 divided by 10 will give us our answer here. That seems not correct. So 70 divided by 10. Oh, why am I dividing by 10? Okay, I know what I did. So right when I plugged in 70 divided by 10, I was like 7. 7 times 7 is 49. Half of 49 is not 35. I divided by the answer. Okay, so we need to divide by 7 on both sides. And 70 divided by 7 is 10 inches is what we're measuring in. So 7 times 10 is 70. Cut in half is 35, right? Go back and check, does this make sense? And sometimes you'll see, no, that did not. So when we're working backwards, we have to do everything backwards. The last thing we would do is divide. So we do that first and do the opposite on both sides there. Okay, and let's try out these. So these are pretty straightforward. Find the area given the base and the height. So our formula, base times height divided by 2 equals that area, whatever it is, units squared. So we're timesing a 2-dimension shape here. So we need to do 12 times 6.5 with 1 decimal place and then divide it by 2. So make sure you get that decimal in there. Okay, I'm going to do number 10 with you. So we have 4.5 times 8. So we're going to make this improper. So there's 16 plus 1 is 17 over 4. And we're going to times that by 8 over 1. Oh, look, 4 goes into both of those 1 time and 2 times. So 17 times 2 is 34 over 1. So our answer is 34 inches squared. Hey, this one's pretty straightforward. Nice whole number is 8 times 7. Cut in half. Make sure you get the right label, feet squared. And 12, we take the base, times it by the height. I notice this one has 2 decimal places, 1, 2. And then divide it in half, centimeters squared.